Hello everyone. I've been really busy this past week bringing a bunch of plants in from outside and getting cuttings from my plants like my coleus and Tradescantia outside to overwinter in the basement for next spring to go back on the patio. So we're going to do a little tour of my overwintering room, aka the utility room in the basement. So let's go. Did you pause it or no? Oh. All right. So that would be a good opportunity to say I do not edit my videos, period. So this is all raw and unfiltered content. But yeah, let's go into the basement here. So our basement is kind of our family room slash bar slash computer room slash TV room. It's really where we spend most of our time hanging out. So I'll give you a quick little peek at that too, I guess. So right at the bottom, this is the bar that one of our friends helped us build a few years back. And you gotta have the Taco Bell chair. One of our friends gave us a couple of those. So I guess we'll just do a little spin of what it looks like down here. That dark room is the bathroom over there. And our house was built in the mid-century, but our basement, I think, was most likely finished in like the 70s. It's very, very 70s looking. I kind of like it though. It's kind of cool, all the paneling and stuff. That's my computer right there on the right, and I'm playing a Growfolds video. Hi Richie, if you're watching. A lot of times I will play videos while I'm, doing plant chores and stuff like that. Just rewatch some houseplanty content. The 2025 is because we have a New Year's Eve party every year, and then I usually just keep the year on the wall until the following year. So, but this room over here is our utility room, and we're gonna go inside there. And this is where all my plants live, in the basement. So, as you can imagine, it is a basement, so a lot of stuff stored down here, but we have this cool workbench here that was here when we moved in, and I feel like a lot of these mid-century houses would have something like that. It reminds me of like my grandparents' house, for example. I have no idea what they were doing down here, woodworking or I don't know. But so yeah, this is also our laundry room, storage room. It's my butterfly tent hanging over there, like the water heater and furnace room. But anyways, I store a lot of my potting soils and stuff and pots down here. And then this is actually where I do all of my repotting at. I usually sit on this gray rug on the floor here and repot all my plants on this mat here, so it's a little bit less messy. There's a big bin of my chunky soil mix here that I make. I grow mainly aeroids and things that like really well draining soil, so I make my own little mix there. But yeah, let's take a look at the plants here that have been saved from certain death outside with the cold weather. This first one is my Begonia escargot. And I'm not great at begonias, but I really wanted to try to save that one. It is getting some blooms on it. I also should have turned this light on, but I guess we'll get a full view of the workbench over there while I turn on the light over here. And I wanted to turn on the light because I wanted to kind of look at the back of this begonia. This side was facing all the other plants in the mixed planter that it was in, so it's kind of bare. But I just wanted to show how fuzzy the stems are. Like, it's such a red fuzzy plant. And then that's also where a lot of the blooms are kind of coming up from there. So I'm really hoping that I debugged all my plants before I got them in here. I sprayed them all with insecticidal soap and put them in the shower down here. Kind of washed them all off. Here's a flower on, of course it's the most awkward angle to get to, but yeah, I guess that's what the flowers look like. Nothing super crazy, but I mean, really with that plant, the beauty of it is honestly the leaves themselves. So, and I did not turn on the grow light yet down here because it's going to be really funny colored in this room. But once I get the grow light turned on later today, my plants should be all set up for winter. And obviously a grow light is a must with growing plants in the basement. So this one is my Persian Shield. And last year I did try to take cuttings from the Persian Shield that I had growing outside, and they just did not want to root for me. So this year I was like, why don't I just try to debug the plant and just bring it right down, bring the whole plant right down here. So it has beautiful leaves. So yeah, I actually wasn't going to bring that one in. I was like, I have enough stuff in the basement already, but it was so pretty. I just had to try to save it, and then I won't have to buy a new one to plant out there next year on the patio. So these ones are a little further from where the light source is going to be. Both of those are not plants that need a really intense amount of light. So then we'll spin around here. So over in the corner, and I may need to move them, but over in the corner I have my tray of coleus cuttings. I have 6 different types that I took cuttings from, and since I just did these actually less than a week ago, they're looking a little bit droopy. I'm sure they haven't really rooted yet, but and of course I'm not going to remember the names of these. I should have looked at tags before I made the video, but this one is my one that looks really orange. This one I actually don't know the name of. It didn't have a tag, but it's my really splashy variegated one. It's got really bright green leaves, and then the red with like little polka dots and splashes of variegation. That one I don't know the name of. That one looks really sad. I hope that one makes it. That was out of like a mixed package of coleus, but it also gets really orange in the middles there, and of course at the moment it's not really showing that because it's so wilty. This one is Albrito coleus, which I would say is probably one of my favorites, or my favorite. It has a lot of different colors in the leaves. This one looks a lot more orange colored outside as well, but I don't remember the name of that one either right off the top of my head. And then this was just another one out of like a mixed package, so not really labeled. Oh, actually, no, I apologize. That one is actually looking really droopy, but that one is the chocolate covered cherry coleus. So I really hope some of those cuttings of each type are going to root and survive, but I guess we'll see in the coming weeks here. This next one is one of my Proven Winners caladiums. Again, I forgot to look at the names before I made the video. I know it has the word lemon in the name, and it's a Proven Winners branded one. I've never actually tried to overwinter caladiums, so this is going to be kind of an experiment, but I have about 3 of them down here, and I was like, might as well give it a try, so this will go over to, so the next one is another caladium, and this one got really unhappy at the end of the summer. We got some cold weather. I think it might have got overwatered because we got rainy cold weather back in the beginning of September, and then it really declined and lost a lot of the big leaves. But this one, if there were only one of these that I could save, it was going to be this one. Was kind of my thought all along, that if I could only save one, it was going to be this one. This is called Burning Heart. It's another Proven Winners caladium, and it just has the brightest red leaves, like super bright. It is my favorite of the 5 different types of Proven Winners caladiums I planted this year. Moving along here, these are some cuttings of Tradescantia. The one on the left, this was actually down here all winter, or all summer, sorry, without a grow light, but it did survive. So I didn't take any new cuttings of that one, even though I had some growing outside. And I believe that is the one people call pistachio. My favorite one here, I actually do not know the name of, but it has almost that bridal veil type of look and coloration to it. I don't think it is that particular Tradescantia though, but I just love the variegation on this one. Tradescantia and also Coleus, the other ones there, root really easily, so hopefully all of these are going to take root and survive, and I'll have some plants to put back on the patio or outside next year without having to buy a whole bunch of plants again. Save some money. This one is Tradescantia Nanook. A lot of people probably recognize that one. It's kind of popular as a houseplant. I do find that Tradescantia honestly grow a lot nicer outside, a lot thicker. Indoors they'll get kind of leggy. They don't necessarily want to be in a full spot sun outside or need to be, but inside they want a lot more light than what they usually get, and then they just get all leggy and viney. And the one next to it is very similar. And I actually used to think these were the same type of Tradescantia until I got both of them this spring and planted them. But this one is called, it's a Proven Winners one, and it's called Feelin' Flirty. And it is definitely different than the Nanook. It's almost opposite variegation, whereas the Nanook has more purple with the green stripes. This one has a lot more green with kind of the purple stripes. This is my one and only Anthurium that I own. And I got this when I got my IKEA greenhouse cabinet upstairs, so I've had it for a while, and it's actually an Anthurium fingers. And last summer, my houseplants get into kind of a drought a lot in summer when I'm really busy. It got into a drought. It eventually lost all its leaves by the end of last summer. And then all winter it was just this little stump down in here. So I was like, well, the stump was still very much alive. And so in the spring I stuck that outside on the patio. And finally in like maybe July, it actually started to get some leaves. So yeah, we'll see how it does now coming back into the house here. It didn't like it in here last year, but it was mainly because it kept getting overwatered. Back when it was just strictly an indoor plant, but these next couple plants here are ficus. The one on the right with the variegation, that is my Ficus taniki. And this will actually be its third winter living down here. And it grew a lot, like the whole, probably from there up was all new growth from this summer. But yeah, it's used to spending its winters down here. It's got really pretty leaves. I'm not sure if those are going to open up more. I think it was kind of pointed towards the direction that the sun was usually hitting it on the patio, but so yeah, that one is used to this living situation. That was its third summer living outside. So this will be its third winter living down here with the grow lights. And the next one is my fiddle leaf fig, or Ficus lyrata. This one was living outside for its first summer, and I really wish I would have started sooner. I just wasn't happy living in my living room, and pretty much all the growth that you see there is new growth from this year. It was down to like just a couple leaves living in the living room. And then I stuck it down here towards the end of last winter or early spring maybe with the grow light, because I was like, this is not going to stay in the house anymore. It's just not looking good in the house. It maybe had the far left one, some of those leaves it may have had, but the big tall stalk was down to like 1 or 2 leaves. It just looked terrible. And look how happy it is after just 1 year of living outside. So I always say that ficus are really more of an outdoor plant, or in my climate, a plant you want to keep outdoors as long as you possibly can, and then overwinter. They just need a really high amount of light. So speaking of light, the grow light that's not turned on up here, one of my coworkers actually gave this to me last year, and it is intensely bright, so I didn't want it on for the video. It's also a really pinky or purpley colored light, so for my upstairs grow lights, I will only use ones that are truly like a yellowish type of light, so it looks more natural. My eyes really don't like those really pink or blue looking ones. But for this room, obviously, we don't spend a whole lot of time in here, except when I come in to water plants or when we do laundry, so it doesn't really bother me as much in here. And from that window in the background there, from our backyard, when that light is on in winter and kind of fall and spring, it actually looks like there's a pink neon light on in this room. Like the windows right in this corner here just light up pink. So I always wonder if people are thinking we're having a party every night or something when they see the neon looking light coming out those windows. While we're up there, we'll catch the Hoya here. This was hanging on the front of the gazebo out on the patio, and it is a mixture of this one is Hoya sea stones. I think Bertonii or Bertoniae is the correct pronunciation of the actual name of that plant, that Hoya. And this one is Hoya Sunrise that a friend sent to me. And I actually hadn't grown Hoya in quite a while. I had 2 of them near the beginning of my plant collecting days. Both of them died, and then I just never wanted to try them again. So, but this one got really beautiful outside, really sun stressed. The Hoya Sunrise has got the really red leaves. The other one has kind of the pinks and reds. And I was hoping this would flower for me, growing outside in full sun. And it started to, but then it got too cold to keep it out there. So it does have some peduncles, I think just on the Hoya Sea Stones. And so far so good. This has been in here about 4 days, and it hasn't lost the peduncles yet, which I was kind of worried about with moving it. So hopefully I'll actually get to see that one bloom. There's like one there, another one there. I think there's at least 2 more on that one. I don't see any on the Hoya Sunrise, but I'm hoping that keeping it really close to that really bright grow light there, I'm hoping that it will do well down here and flower and obviously live until spring when it can go back outside on the patio in the full sunlight. So yeah, we got the Hoyas there. This next one I had to actually dig out of a mixed planter, this Dracaena. It was planted in like a long window box planter that was sitting on the patio. And it was one of the later ones that I brought in too. I got a bunch of stuff brought in Monday and Tuesday. And it did frost on Wednesday night, I believe. But fortunately, it didn't frost very hard, and this plant was still alive. And I was like, why not dig that out? Like, it's pretty, and I'll have another plant to put on the patio next year. It was in a little 4-inch pot when I planted it out there, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna stick this in like a 6-inch plastic pot, you know? So it worked to get it dug out of the planter. It's kind of intertwined with all the other plants in there. And I finally got this plant out of the planter out there, and it had big roots that were like probably 2 feet long, the longest one. And I was surprised, and I was like, what am I going to put this plant in to bring it inside? So I did just happen to have one of these outside planters here that didn't have anything planted in it. And even to fit it into this pot, which is maybe like an 8 or so inch pot, I had to just wind those giant roots around the edge of the pot kind of. And yeah, pour the soil in there and hope for the best. So that one might actually need a repot when spring comes around, or I'll maybe put it in another mixed planter, but it's a long ways away, but we'll figure that out when that happens. So down on the floor here, or sitting on a tote actually, I do have another one of those caladiums from Proven Winners, and I knew the name of this one and I can't think of it now. Something with the word white in it, I believe, but that, other than the red one, that was actually the first one that I brought in. That was the thickest, fullest one. These were growing in these pots just in my shade garden in the backyard. And that one had the nicest shape, and I was just really wanted to bring that one in. And it's huge. I don't know how it's going to react to living in the house. But fingers crossed. I'm hoping that it at least retains some of the leaves over the course of winter and stays alive, basically. But do a close-up on the leaves of that one. I actually posted this one on my Instagram, I believe on Wednesday, the day after I brought it in. I took a picture of it while it was in the shower down here drying, just because it was so pretty and large. So yeah, that's the third of the proven winners caladiums that I brought down here to try to overwinter, and we'll see what happens with that. And I actually only have 3 more plants here. I think there's a total of like 21 plants in this room if you count each pot of cuttings as a plant. But the very first ones I brought in when I knew it was going to start getting cold, and that's my outside Aglaonemas here. 2 of these are doubles that I actually have inside the house. And then the pink Siam, the kind of smaller one on this side. This one I don't have a double of, so I might even eventually bring that one upstairs once I just make 100% sure that there aren't any bugs in any of my plants. Like any bad bugs, at least, that would eat them. So that one looks a little spindly just because I got it late in the summer, and it's from a big box store. I was kind of worried that it might have had spider mites because I saw some webbing, so I decided to stick it outside, and I was like, I'll bring that in when I bring all the other plants in. And it did not like going straight from the store to just being stuck out on the patio. It didn't help that it was the cold and rainy week at the beginning of September happened right after I put it out there. So that one actually has lost quite a few leaves. It was a lot thicker. But hopefully being in the house now, it will kind of recover and eventually look nice again. Right behind it, that one is the red Siam. So similar pattern, just with the bright red versus the pink. I do have a tiny little one of those upstairs, so I was almost thinking I may convert that one into my indoor collection as well. And then this one is Aglaonema Sparkling Sarah. This is actually doing better than the indoor one. They started out the opposite, but then this one got super thick as summer went on. I really love the very pink stems on that Aglaonema. Also, if you haven't watched my Aglaonema collection tour from last Saturday, I posted it on here. Make sure you check that out when you get a chance. I have upstairs in my regular plant collection, I have 46 would be counting this pink Siam, but I have 46 different types of Aglaonema and 48 total counting these ones down here. And then I also realized I forgot in that video to mention hashtag popularize Aglaonema. It was started by my friend Richie at Growfolds, and just when we post Aglaonema on social media, particularly Instagram, we do like to use the hashtag popularize Aglaonema. If you do use that tag, if you want to, you can feel free to tag me in it. I use that hashtag on all of my social media posts regarding Aglaonema. And then speaking of, also give me a follow on Instagram if you could. My Instagram username is @planty_buds. And I post on there pretty much every day, so try to at least. But yeah, I think I am finally done bringing plants in from outside. The last 2 I actually just brought in today, one of them being that red caladium over there. I did have those in my shed since last Tuesday, because of the frost and the cold weather, but I knew if I put them in the shed they would stay nice until I could figure out if I could fit more plants down here, so... and I had posted a picture or a little short video with all of the caladiums and I had tagged Proven Winners in that on Instagram, and I had said, if I can only save one of the caladiums, which one should I save? And Proven Winners' answer was they voted for this one. And again, I know it has the word lemon in the name. I just can't think of the other word. It's lemon something or another. Lemon ice, maybe. I don't know. But that one is really pretty. Like, that was my first instinct of which one should I save next, besides the other two that were in the basement already here. So, but yeah, we'll just do a little quick run back through them all. So, those are my coleus cuttings there. The caladium with the word lemon in the name. The caladium with the word white in the name over there. I really should have looked at those tags before I started making this video. I just totally forgot. But the caladium burning hearts, or burning heart up here. My 4 Tradescantias and the anthurium fingers there, the tiny little anthurium. Got my 2 ficus here. And they're pretty close to that grow light. I did notice that the Taniki, the variegated one, was getting really close to the grow light last winter. And I actually felt like the grow light was burning the leaves on that plant, even though ficus really like a lot of sun. Like, I honestly think that the jaggedness on this leaf here, I think the grow light may have burned that last winter or early spring before the plant went back outside. But such a pretty leaf too, like the variegation pattern on that one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if I hadn't started putting that Taniki outside, it probably would have died. It was living in the excuse me, it was living in the living room, and I noticed one day, like a few summers back, or kind of early summer or spring, it had dropped all of its leaves. It was just a little stick, and it was probably like maybe only as tall as this leaf back at that point in time. And I just put it outside as, well, let's see if it lives or not. And it was just so beautiful by the time fall came that I was like, I can't let it die. I have to bring it inside. And that was kind of the beginning of my overwintering plants in this room down here in my utility room. So, and now look at us. We have 21 plants or something like that in here right now. That is my Dracaena again right there. The beautiful sun-stressed Hoyas up here, which may hopefully bloom soon. We'll see. Hopefully they don't get mad about being moved inside, but with the little peduncle there, where the flowers will hopefully still form. Oh, very bad focus there. Got my 3 Aglaonemas. I just love how this is supposed to be a workbench for using tools and stuff, and I'm like, nope, this is my plant bench now, every winter. But and then again over here we just have the Begonia escargot. That's little flower on the right hand side there, or blooms. And then the Persian shield here. So, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed looking at my little overwintering setup here. I'd be much appreciated if you were to like this video, subscribe, leave me a comment. Do you overwinter your plants from outside? Do you have any tips on that? If so, just drop it in the comments here. Would love to hear from you. Again, follow me on Instagram at planty_buds. You can also message me on there or that sort of thing. But yeah, I hope that you all enjoyed my little tour of my overwintering space in my utility room here. And so that should be it for today, but I will see you guys next time. Bye.